August 8th, 2022 meeting of the Albany County Legislature. My name is Andrew Joyce and I serve as chair of the legislature. Our rules allow for a period of public comment before our meetings. Our rules prohibit members of the legislature from questioning the public and the public from questioning the members. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes each. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Peston,
Here.
Brusky,
Here.
Bergdorf,
Here.
Chapman. Chapman. Clay,
Here.
Cleary,
Here.
Camisso,
Here.
Collins,
Here.
Cunningham, Kamalowitz,
Here.
Drake. Drake. Epicoro,
Here.
Getria,
Here.
Amy,
Here.
Pine,
Here.
Prim,
Here.
Andrew Joyce,
Here.
Raymond Joyce,
Here.
Kuhn,
Here.
Makakis,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Moriello,
Here.
Mayo, Mayo, McLaughlin,
Here.
Clean Lane,
Here.
Miller,
Present.
O'Brien,
Here.
Hurley,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Plotsky, Miss Plotsky, Reedy,
Here.
Reinhardt, Rickard,
No work card is present, Mr. Deputy Clerk. Thank you.
Simpson,
Here.
Smith, Chris Smith, Tony,
Here.
Ward,
Here.
Whalen,
Here.
Willingham, Ms. Willingham. Looks like 32, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Clerk.
Did you get me, Andrew?
We've got you. Did anyone not hear their name called who may have joined late? Okay, we'll get started. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please identify the first speaker.
Carol Waterman.
Hi, before I start, Andrew, this is either, I don't know, a point of order, a point of information, or just a point of something. I know that they have revised the open meeting law, and I didn't see anything there about how long people get to speak. But the previous one, it was 3 to 5 minutes. And when either I'm the only speaker or often they've been 4 of us, shouldn't we all get 5 minutes? But
Carol,
my
would
talk
you,
is only
would you like
3
5 minutes tonight?
Maybe I might go over a little on the 3, although
I don't know, when do I start the clock? Before the preamble or after? or-
Now.
Start it out.
All right,
Okay, here we go. So, I want to talk about the 2023 budget and 2020. Hello?
Nicole,
Yeah.
Yes.
Nicole, you got me the meeting.
Yes.
we've got you, Mr. Ethier. I'm sorry, Carol, go ahead.
Thank you. I
Oh,
had to change
so-
phones. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Carol, I interrupt you.
Hey, don't make any more trouble, okay? So I want to talk about the 2023 budget. And 2023 happens to be the 25th anniversary of the master settlement agreement between Big Tobacco and the states. And in that settlement agreement, it was agreed that 50% of the money should be spent on prevention. Unfortunately, they didn't put any enforcement into it, and it's being violated all over the country with impunity. It also said that the tobacco companies agreed they would not do any more marketing to young people, and certainly not to children. And of course, we all know they're not evil enough to do something like that. Oh, that's right, they are. and they have been. Okay. But in terms of the 50% on prevention, only 10 states, 5 red, 5 blue, have earmarked 50% or more for prevention. And New York State, shamefully, is not one of them. New York State spends only 20% on prevention. But of course, we're here to talk about the county. So where does that come in? Well, the state takes the money they get and they distribute it to counties. And in the past several years, Albany County got $4 million. So then the question is, well, where has this money gone? Well, it's been going to Medicaid. Now, Medicaid's a wonderful program. It should be expanded, but this is not part of what the intent of the mass settlement agreement was about spending the money. Now, I would like to see all of our 4 million go for prevention, but I also know that's not happening. I'd be happy to see 50% of it go for prevention. And that would still be $2 million, which a lot can be done with $2 million. Now, about smoking and vaping, this is around the country. The best work on these have been done by teenagers. And so I'd like for this money to go to our schools so that students and student groups such as SAD, Students Against Destructive Decisions, and other student groups or just students in general can create materials such as videos, artwork, posters. They can not only be used here, but elsewhere as well. Now, some of our schools don't have audiovisual equipment, editing equipment, cameras to film things, expensive art supplies. And when students are, done working with this, the schools would, of course, get to keep the equipment. It's a really good deal. Okay. Now, in addition to helping with prevention, think about the education that students who do this kind of work would get. And I'm a retired teacher, so to me, that's a very big selling point. One of my favorite quotes is from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible
One minute.
until it's done. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Mr. Deputy Clerk, next speaker.
We have no one else on the list, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anyone else in this meeting who would like to make a public comment? Hearing none, the public forum is now closed. I'd like to call our meeting to order for August 2022. And in recognition of their birthdays, we would like Albany County legislators Lakakis, Willingham, Peter, and Platsky to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hello. Oh, no.
Allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and happy birthday. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Preston,
Here.
Ruski,
Here.
Bergdorf,
Here.
Chapman. Clay. Cleary.
Here.
Camiso,
Here.
Collins,
Here.
Cunningham. Tomolowitz,
Here.
Drake. Epicoro. He's here. Feeney,
Here.
Fine,
Here.
Grimm,
Here.
Andrew Joyce,
Here.
Raymond Joyce,
Here.
Hume,
Here.
Lakakis,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Moriello,
Here.
Mayo, McLaughlin,
Here.
McLean Lane,
Here.
Miller,
Present.
O'Brien,
Here.
Hurley,
Here.
Gator,
Here.
Slotsky, Reedy,
Here.
Reinhardt, Reichart, Simpson,
Here.
Smith, Honey,
Here.
Ward,
Here.
Phelan,
Here.
Willingham. $32, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Devane, do you have me in there?
Yes.
Mr. Devane,
Yes, sir.
do you have me in? I was on mute. Did you get my
Oh,
call?
I certainly do, sir.
And you
You got a capital G?
With a capital, Gilbert.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Oh, and thank you for the other thing you did for me. I really
Oh,
appreciate
yes,
that.
yes, sir.
I'll make note of additional sponsors with the clerk. First item under previous business, 270, please.
Providing a suspension of the residency requirement for employees in Albany County.
All those in favor?
Aye.
270 passes unanimous. First item under current business, 271, please.
Amending resolution 512 for 2021 regarding maintenance of designated snowmobile trails in Albany County. And amending the 2022 Department of Economic Development, Conservation and Planning budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 271 passes unanimous. 272, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement with Orthopedics New York LLC regarding Suite 8 at the MVP Arena.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 272 passes unanimous. 273, please.
Authorizing agreements with the New York State Industry for the disabled regarding custodial services at the Judicial Center and the Family Court buildings.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Chairman,
Mr. Cleary?
please note my abstention.
Got it.
Thank you.
All those opposed? 273 passes with one abstention. 274, please.
Authorizing agreement with Delta Engineers, Architects and Surveyors regarding professional architectural and engineering consulting services for various projects at the MVP Arena.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 274 passes unanimous. 275, please.
Authorizing agreement with Sprint Communications Company LP regarding relocation of buried fiber optic lines along the Albany County Rail Trail Bridge
All
over
those in,
Scotland Road.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 275 passes unanimous. 276, please.
Amending the 2022 Department of Public Works budget. Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program, Pave New York and Extreme Winter Recovery.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 276 passes unanimous. 277, please.
Authorizing agreement with James H. Malloy regarding the Waterville Sugar Road roadway improvement phase 3 tree clearing and grading project in the town of Colony.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 277 passes unanimous. May I have a motion to group items 278 through 284?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Peters, seconded by Ms. Lakakis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on items 278 through 284, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolutions 278 through 284 pass unanimous. Okay, can I get a motion to group items 285
Motion.
through 289?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on items 285 through 289, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolutions 285 through 289 pass unanimous. 290, please.
Authorizing agreement with the New York State Coalition Against Sexual Assault regarding sexual assault services program funding.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where 290 passes unanimous. 291, please.
Authorizing agreement with New York State Office of Victim Services regarding the Victim and Witness Assistance Grant Program and amending the 2022 Crime Victim and Sexual Violence Center budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 291 passes unanimous. 292, please.
Authorizing agreements regarding the Albany County Insurance Company.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 292 passes unanimous. $293, please.
Amending the 2022 Department of Mental Health budget administrative adjustments.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 293 passes unanimous. 294, please.
Authorizing an intergovernmental agreement regarding the Burn Justice Assistant Grant Program funding.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 294 passes unanimous. 295, please.
Authorizing Shaver Place Rehabilitation and Nursing Center to consider out-of-county applicants for the positions of social worker and dietitian.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Point of order,
Passes unanimous.
Point of order.
point of order.
Who's that, Ms. Lakakis?
Well, Sean should go. He had his hand up first.
Okay. Mr. Ward?
Mr. Chairman, given that we have passed a resolution exempting employees from, or actually allowing out-of-town residents for the next 2 years,
Which one?
wouldn't this be out of order or worthy of withdrawal by the sponsors, even if it is the executive's office? And that would be the next resolution as well.
Yeah, you are correct, Mr. Ward. The first resolution that we passed tonight, 270 supersedes these. So both 296 and 297, or not 297, 295 and 296 are out of order. So we'll skip those.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you for the reminder and pointing that out. Okay, 297, please.
Adopting the Albany County Capital Program for 2023 to 2027.
Long roll call, please.
Can we clarify which item this is again? This is for which one?
297.
97.
97.
Dustin. Ruski.
Favor?
Yes.
Bergdorf.
Aye.
Clay.
Aye.
Cleary.
Aye.
Grissom. Collins.
Aye.
Cunningham. Tomolowitz.
Yes.
Drake. Epicoro. Ethier.
Yes.
Feeny.
Yes.
Fine. Grimm.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
David Joyce. Kuhn.
Yes.
Yes.
Hackett.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Coriello.
Yes.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Reedy.
Yes.
Reichert.
Yes. Work card. Aye.
Simpson.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Whalen. Willingham.
Yes. Whalen, yes.
Unanimous. 37,
37?
correct.
Thank you.
Excuse me, 32, I'm sorry.
32. Okay, thank you. Resolution 297 passes unanimous. 298, please.
Amending the 2022 Office of Audit and Control budget.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 298 passes unanimous. 299, please.
A bond resolution of the County of Albany, New York, authorizing capital improvements for the Department of Public Works, stating the estimated maximum cost thereof is $916,000, appropriating said amount therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $916,000 of serial bonds in the state county to finance the appropriation.
All those in, long roll call, please.
Testing,
Favor?
Rushki,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Aye.
Clay, Cleary,
Aye.
Missa, Collins,
Aye. Aye.
Hollowitz,
Aye. Yes.
Epicoro,
Yes.
Ethier.
Yes.
Mr.
Chairman, I think you skipped me. I you didn't get my answer. I couldn't hear with all the noise in the background. Which is a yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you get me, Mr. Devane? Ether's a yes.
I did. Ethier,
Thank you.
Feeny,
Yes.
Fine,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Andrew Joyce,
Yes.
Raymond Joyce,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Makakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Moriello,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
McLean Lane,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Reichert,
Joe Rickard, aye.
Simpson,
Yes.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen,
Yes.
Willingham. 32.
Excuse me, I'm also a yes. I've joined, I was also on the last roll call. This is Reinhardt.
Thank you, Bill. We have you.
Mr. Deputy Clerk, how many?
33.
33. 299 passes. 33 yes, unanimous. 300, please.
Authorizing a correction of the tax rolls for the town of Colony.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 300 passes, unanimous. 301, please.
Establishing the Mind Your Health Training Program to provide certain county employees mental health first aid training.
Please refer 301 to the Health Committee and the Public Safety Committee. First item under local laws.
Local Law F for 2022. The local law of the County of Albany requiring all weapon and/or firearm dealers to post disclosures regarding safety risks from firearms.
Okay, Mr. Moriello.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion this evening to amend local law F. And what I've done is we have sent this to this amendment to your office, to the majority leader, to the clerk, as well as the primary sponsor, Mr. Reedy. Mr. Reedy and I have had conversations about this last week and this weekend about this this amendment. And I just wanted to explain this very briefly. What we're looking to do is we read the original law that was proposed. And we just wanted to improve upon this. I'm not looking to be adversarial. I'm not looking to, really give anyone a hard time here. What I wanted to do, we wanted to do as a conference, we wanted to improve this. And we understand that, the intent of the law is try to really prevent or reduce the amount of gun violence in our county. Well, putting warning signs on a gun dealer's window or behind the counter and handing out leaflets really isn't all that effective. It's like the Surgeon General's warning sign on a pack of cigarettes, a bottle of wine, or a can of beer. We really haven't addressed the true problem out there in our county, and that is illegal weapons. And this amendment is to really address the issues we're having with illegal firearms, in our county. Last week, there was an article in the newspaper in the Times Union. I'm just going to read 3 quick sentences about this because the governor is also targeting illegal weapons. And it says, Governor Kathy Hochul and top state police officials on Thursday said a new unit created last year to pursue firearms trafficking cases is starting to pay dividends and has sharply increased the number of illegal guns being seized. State Police Superintendent Kevin P. Brune said, we're fully committed to slowing the flow of illegal guns in our state through the commitment of our local resources and collaboration with local law partners in all levels. Brune said, adding that ghost guns began surging in New York about 5 years ago. Then the governor is quoted as saying, we had one goal, get illegal guns off our streets. This is the primary driver of crime that is violent. So we looked at that, we agree. We agree with the governor, we agree with the state police. Illegal guns are a big problem in our county. So this amendment that we have, and I'm assuming that Mr. Reedy distributed this. This is something we spoke about last week. When I sent it to him, he said he would distribute it to the members of his conference. This amendment is to try to help to stop the illegal guns being used in our county. So with that, I'm open to any questions, and I'd like to make this motion that we amend local law F.
Mr. Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I find it interesting that Mr. Moriello said putting a sign in a gun dealership wouldn't help, but putting signs up in social services building was. Apparently, some people think flyers are only effective in some areas. But I would also say that the purpose of Mr. Reedy's bill was to deal with the mental health crisis we have. And as one of the sponsors of the Accord legislation, my colleague, Mr. Bergdorf, reminded me specifically that mental health issues and mental health crises happen in every corner of our county, in every demographic. And what this does is the Mr. Reedy's bill says that people who own guns, there tends to be a connection with, and not every gun owner, obviously, in the same way that not every person passing a bridge is going to commit suicide, but we have signs when there's a mental health break, places to actually have calls if you're having that. What Mr. Reedy's bill does is remind people that if you're going through hard times, here's a line to call, here's services you can get. Women and those who suffer from domestic violence are more likely to be hurt or murdered with guns when there's guns in the home. And this makes sure that people who have those guns in their homes has a resource to call. When we talk about the shootings that happened in Buffalo and happened all across the country in schools, those are from legally obtained firearms and people who allegedly, since we don't want to deal as a nation with firearm control, we call it a mental health crisis. And that's what Mr. Reedy's bill is doing, is saying, okay, since nationally, apparently as a country, we don't have the courage to actually limit and check who can actually have a legal firearm, then we must actually stop those who have a legal firearm when they're going through crisis to make sure that they know what's available. It's the same thing we do for when gamblers go to a casino and things like that. Not everyone who goes to a casino, it has a gambling problem. But I can say that when there is a gun in the home, the chances of domestic violence and the violence being perpetrated against women especially goes up, and the chances that there's a murder goes substantially up. And that's what we're fighting for. And that's a very specific part of this bill that is completely ignored and gutted by this amendment. So I think what this does is it passes the buck, and it basically it says that having a warning sign doesn't matter, but we need to have a warning sign in social services. It completely alters the idea that we need to make sure that those who are suffering from mental crisis, who have access to a legally obtained firearm, know clearly that if they're going through a mental crisis, that there are options, that there are people to call. And that's what this bill does. And so I find this amendment, which completely guts that, it's not complimentary. It completely guts it. And it was done a week before this came about, despite public hearings and despite everything else. So this is nothing but a poison pill, perhaps, but disingenuous, absolutely. So I'll be voting no on this amendment.
Okay, just wanted to remind everyone, thank you, Mr. Peter. Keep your comments to under 5 minutes or right at 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes to make comments and a 3-minute retort. We do have a motion on the floor to amend local law F, which we will vote on once we heard from some of you. Mr. Kuhn.
Thanks. Yes, I guess I'll withhold comment on the substance of this legislation, the actual underlying legislation that's being proposed for amendment until later, because I guess right now we're just talking about the amendment. But just from a procedural matter, I find this proposed amendment kind of irregular and violating the procedure that we normally use for local laws. This bill was introduced 56 days ago on June 13th. So step one of our legislative process is that the bill is sent to a public hearing by both law and the public safety committees. It was sent to a public hearing by bipartisan vote of both committees. Then step two is we have a public hearing on the local law on July 26th. The members of the public that spoke on July 26th were unanimously in favor of this proposed local law. Then step three, it goes back to committee, right? It went to had a detailed discussion of this on the substance of this at the law committee and the public safety committee. All the members of the minority caucus, at least at the law committee that I'm a member of, voted for this. And there was no discussion of this pretty radical proposal to rewrite this legislation at that time. We could have had a discussion about it at earlier stages of the legislative process, but for whatever reason, this was never introduced. So then it's reported out of committee, law committee on July 27th, out of public safety on July 28th. So now we're at step four, which is voting on the proposed local law that's been through all these stages. So now we have the last minute of this process. This amendment is being proposed to massively rewrite this legislation. And as I'm sure Mr. Moriello is well aware, because this amendment amounts to a quote unquote substantial change to this legislation, if we were to pass this amendment, it would automatically force us to have another public hearing and then to have another round of committee meetings. So these are really sort of legislative shenanigans that I'm afraid I just don't think are a good faith effort to improve this bill, but are merely a sort of procedural poison pill that's really just designed to delay passage of this local law. So here's what's going to happen. If this amendment is going to go voted down tonight because it's procedurally improper, here's my question when that happens. What Mr. Moriello, what are you going to do when this gets voted down? If you're sincere about this, then I would ask you to withdraw this amendment and propose it as standalone legislation. I promise you it would get fair treatment at the law committee by myself and the other members of the law committee. But unfortunately, my prediction is that's not what's going to happen. So Mr. Moriello had said during his open remarks, he's open to any questions. So I have questions for you. First, why are you making this proposed amendment now, not at the normal and conventional steps of the legislative process? Why does your proposed amendment propose to remove all the facts regarding the terrible scourge of gun violence from the legislative intent section of the local law? What's the point of that? Why are you going to remove all those facts? I mean, they're undisputed. I don't understand what the point of that is at all. And then the third question would be, will you withdraw this amendment and propose these illegal gun disclosure measures just as standalone legislation? That would be the way to go procedurally on this.
Well, I'd like to answer that briefly. First of all, we decided as a conference after the committee meetings to do this, because it was during the committee meetings and it was during the discussion at the committee meetings that we looked at this, and we really thought that the bill itself was ineffective. One of the things I also forgot to mention was the 15-day jail sentence, which I believe you even had an issue with at the committee meeting. So that's why we brought this up now, because it was during those committee meetings that we had some issues and thought about this, and that's why we did this. Also, what's the rush to do this? If we were to hold this for another month, it would be fine. This isn't an urgent type of legislation. We could hold it for a month. And also, I wanted to get the legislation right. I mean, again, I was not being confrontational. We sent this out on Thursday of last week. I wanted to make sure that it was in your hands and everybody had time to read it and to look at it. And as far as the facts are concerned, not all those facts are correct. I don't recall which ones right now were not, but we did do some fact checking and not all those facts were correct. So that's a brief response to your questions, Mr. Kuhn. Thank you.
Well, my one question remains unanswered. When this gets defeated tonight, are you going to propose this as standalone legislation?
I very well may, yes. I very well may do that. But that doesn't mean I'll vote for it this evening. I could very well reintroduce it, yes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We have a number of speakers that still want to go. So Mr. Bergdorf.
Yes, thank you. First of all, one of the things I hear all of our colleagues talk about is how Albany County likes to lead the way. And what I suggest to you is that this amendment would actually lead the way in taking some proactive steps that would actually move to remove illegal guns from the streets of our county and from the city of Albany. I was vocal in the law committee that I thought that the warning notice in the gun shops was well-intentioned, and that I did not believe it was going to be effective, and that we were missing the underlying cause of gun violence, murder, and the violence that we have across the county. So I look at getting our county employees involved with handing out a brochure that says, if you know about an illegal gun, please it's dangerous, please take steps. Call the sheriff's department. We give the sheriff's department and his phone number. That is a proactive effort rather than hanging a warning sign on 6 doors across the county of Albany. I also take issue with the fact that we gutted Mr. Reedy's legislation. We did not gut it. We left it 100% intact. We took out language which doesn't need to be there, which has no effect on the law. We did reduce the jail sentence to a warning and then a maximum $500 fine, which I think Mr. Reedy actually proposed to Mr. Moriello in a conversation. So I think I'm personally disappointed that we couldn't agree on a bipartisan approach to proactively help reduce illegal guns, violence, and shootings in Albany County. And with that, I will second the motion.
A motion to amend has been seconded, but we have a few more speakers. We have 3 more speakers, and then we'll vote on the motion to amend local law F for 2022. Mr. Grimm.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just want to highlight, there's been a couple of mistakes made by members tonight. The idea that we gutted this legislation. The key component of Mr. Reedy's legislation is having the flyer at gun shops, and we didn't touch that at all. So I just want to correct that for the record. Secondly, to Mr. Kuhn, the idea that it's somehow improper to propose an amendment, any member of this chamber can propose amendment at any time, right up to when the bill is on the floor. And the fact of the matter is, there was a lot of discussion, and it's a complicated issue. And we had a conference, and we decided, well, how can we improve the bill? And we're submitting that as an amendment. Any suggestion there's anything improper about that, it's just pure nonsense. What we are saying, because to Mr. Reedy's credit, he said, this probably won't really move the needle a lot, but it may help in some ways by raising awareness. And I said, well, that seems like a reasonable comment to me. But if we're going to raise awareness at gun shops, of course, we should raise awareness among where there might be illegal guns. We know how dangerous illegal guns are. And the one thing all 39 of us agree on, that gun violence is an enduring tragedy in our country, and we all want to fix it. The question is, how can we do it? On the county level, we're limited. And I think the original proposal is limited in that just submitting a flyer that guns are dangerous will have a limited impact, but it does, to Mr. Reedy's point, raise awareness, which I support. But how can you possibly say you don't want to raise awareness in areas where there might be illegal guns? That makes no logic to me. And secondly, on the 15 days in jail for handing out a flyer. Listen, I spoke on this on both committees, and I wasn't even on either committee. I think that's ridiculous to propose jail time for somebody who doesn't hand out a flyer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in strong support of the initial legislation and against this amendment. I think this legislation addresses an important aspect of gun violence. I think we all admit that it's not a complete solution to gun violence. We also need to do more to address gun violence resulting from illegal guns, which is a major problem and probably, the major cause of gun violence in my district and a lot of areas in Albany County. But I think that the idea that the proper target for this message about illegal guns is to send it to give it to people who are on our human services programs, who are on social services. I think that's offensive, that the idea of the programs where we interact with poor people and people who are less fortunate, that we need to give them during that interaction, they should have a message warning them about illegal guns. I just don't think that's right. And I don't think I don't think it's effective, and I don't think it's proper. And I don't think it's the fair thing to do. But I think we all know we have to do a lot more to address gun violence. Mr. Reedy, it's a great start. This is really important. I think, we're limited in what we can do when it comes to guns at the county level. So we're taking a step to actually do something, but we also have to invest when we're talking about illegal gun violence, a lot more in gun violence prevention programs and addressing poverty, housing insecurity, mental health issues, youth programs, and, policing as well, to get better policing to get the illegal guns off the street. But this amendment is not going to do that, and it's just offensive to the people who utilize the services we provide in this county.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fine. The motion to amend local law F for 2022 has been seconded. I want to give the sponsor.
Mr. Chairman, can I just speak to that real quick?
We have Mr. Reedy's going to get, if it's quick, Mr. Demalis, Mr. Reedy's going to make final comments, and we're going to vote on the amendment.
Okay. That'd be fine. I like that. So I'll be brief. Initially, I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead, sir. You're good.
Okay. Thank you. Initially, as I spoke in the Public Safety Committee, I had some concerns about the 50-day jail time for the gun dealers for not posting a sign. That was a concern of mine. It is a part of this amendment, which I support that, but it goes too far and it cuts a lot of the parts of this resolution and local law that I do support. But the 15 days in jail, someone can rob somebody on Central Avenue and don't get jail time. And here we are going to put a gun dealer for not putting a sign up for 15 days in jail. I find that hard to support. But the overall local law itself, I do support. and we need to do something to help curb gun violence, especially with the mental illness side of everything. And for that, I'll be voting no on the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Reedy.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to attempt to answer some of the questions raised here, and some, what I might say, I don't think I quite agree with some of what my comments were interpreted by some of my colleagues. But I do want to reiterate, we're entitled to our own opinions here. We're not entitled to our own facts. The fact is, the amendment the minority caucus offers, it seeks to erase what is quite simply a collection of demonstrable facts about the dangers of legally owned firearms. Nearly every suicide, domestic homicide, and accidental shooting in this country is done with a legally owned firearm. The horrific mass shootings we saw this summer in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas, those were perpetrated with legally purchased guns and guns that were purchased just before these horrific crimes were committed. The fact is that gun violence is an issue with all firearms, whether they're legal or illegal. This amendment, it would not just substantially change the law, it would wholly change it, sending it back to committees and public hearings. The question of urgency for Mr. Moriello, the fact is 110 Americans are killed every day with guns. That means that since the introduction of this law, over 6,000 people in this country will have been lost from gun violence. My colleague think that we may be moving too quickly. I don't think we can move quick enough to address this epidemic. Local law F, it is a simple, straightforward, and measured action we can take in Albany County to help on this life and death issue and abide by the demands of our constituents. I'll be rejecting this amendment, urging my colleagues to do the same, and hope they'll join me in voting to pass local law F as it has been written. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy. On the motion to amend local law F, long roll call, please.
Heston,
No.
Drewski,
No.
Bergdorf,
Aye.
Chapman, Clay,
No.
Cleary,
No.
Tomisso,
No.
Collins,
Aye.
Tomolowitz.
No.
Pepacaro,
Hey, Mr. Clerk,
yes.
you've missed me in the role. Mr.
And
Drake
you
here?
are
Drake. Todd.
Mr. Drake.
Yes. And I
Go
vote
ahead,
aye.
sir. What is your vote?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Pepacaro,
Just before I make that vote, so a yes vote would be to accept the amendment, or is it a no vote to accept the amendment?
this is on the amendment, sir.
Yes.
What
What
is
would a
your-
yes vote?
Oh my God.
What is your vote, sir, on the amendment?
No.
Thank you.
Hold on a second. That was Ms. McLaughlin. Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Efficoro, just for clarification, Mr. Moriello has made a motion, seconded by Mr. Bergdorf, to amend local law F. We are voting on the amendment right now, on the motion to amend.
No.
Thank you.
He's here. Gilbert. He's here. Feeney,
No.
No.
Fine,
No.
No.
thank
Yeah,
you.
Mr. Ethier is a no.
I hadn't.
Thank you.
Grim,
Did you get
Yes.
that?
thank you.
Thank you.
Got you, Mr. Ethier. Thank you.
Andrew,
No.
Ray Joyce,
No.
Hune,
No.
Dukakis,
No.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Morello,
Yes.
McLaughlin,
No.
McLean Lane,
No.
Miller,
No.
O'Brien,
No.
Hurley,
Yes.
Peter,
No.
Reedy,
No.
Reinhardt,
No.
Reichert,
Bill Rickard, nay.
Simpson,
Nay.
Honey,
Yes.
Ward,
No.
Whalen,
Yes.
Willingham.
No.
Thank you. Okay. 25 nay, 8 yay,
Say again, Mr. Deputy Clerk.
25-8.
A motion to amend local law F for 2022 fails. Long roll call on local law F for 2022, please.
One. Yeah. And I'll just do this one more time here. See that Mr. Drake got in. Thank you.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear nobody
either. What's going on? I can't hear anybody.
We're tabulating the motion to amend. We're making sure that we have all the correct votes, gentlemen. Stand by.
Now on resolution, on local law F. Correct, Mr. Chairman?
Correct.
All right,
Roll call, please.
thank you. Veston,
In favor.
Brusky,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Nay, I'm sorry we missed an opportunity to really impact the underlying cause of gun violence. I vote no.
Clay,
Yes.
Cleary,
Yes.
Camiso,
Yes.
Collins,
No.
Tomolowitz,
Yes.
Drake,
No.
Epicoro,
Yes.
Athia,
Yes.
Haney,
Yes.
Pine,
Yes.
Grimm,
No.
Andrew Joyce,
Yes.
Raymond Joyce,
Yes.
June,
Yes.
Lekakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
No.
Morello,
No.
McLaughlin,
Yes.
McLean Lane,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
No.
Peter,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Reichert,
Bill Rickard, aye.
Simpson,
Yes.
Honey,
No.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen, Ms. Whalen, Ms. Whalen, Ms. Willingham,
Yes.
thank you. Well, and out. Huh? Like 26-7, Mr. Chairman, passes. 26 aye, 7 nay.
26-7, Mr. Deputy Clerk.
Correct.
Okay, local law F for 2022 passes 26-7. Great work, Mr. Reedy.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I had technical difficulty, but I'd like to vote no on that.
Very well.
This is Jennifer
You got it.
Whalen. I apologize.
No,
I was there and then something happened
You got
to
it.
my
26-8.
Mr. Reedy's. Yeah, I'm voting no on Mr. Reedy's
Correct.
resolution. I
Thank you,
can't
Ms.
agree to
Whalen.
put
We got it.
15,
Thank you, Ms.
sentence
Whalen.
someone for 15 days to jail. Okay, thank you.
Got
Thank
it.
you. And I believe we have Mr. Mayo.
Yes, present.
Mr.
what is
Mayo,
your
in?
vote?
Yes, I vote aye on that.
Thank you, sir. Did you have a chance to look at the amendment, Mr. Mayo?
I did not.
All right, sir.
Oh, the Republican amendment?
Correct.
Yeah, no, I vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Clerk. Local law G for 2022, please.
Local law, the County of Albany, New York, establishing rules and regulations for open meetings of the County of Albany to provide for member video conferencing in limited circumstances.
Okay, before we take a long roll call on local law G for 2022, I want to thank the Deputy Majority Leader, Ms. Lakakis, and Mr. Kuhn, and all the members of our Rules Reform and Legislative Modernization Committee for their work that they've done from day one to adopt and recommend some of the good practices that we learned during the pandemic, which really made our process more open to the public. And we've had more participation than ever had before. What we're adopting tonight is a bit of a start for us. So hopefully we can get to a point where we continue the work necessary to make what we do here more accessible to the public. And again, thank you for all your work. And this is just the beginning, hopefully. Long roll call on local law G for 2022, please.
Preston,
Yes.
Drusky,
Yes.
Bergdorf,
Yes.
Clay,
Mr. Deputy
Yes.
Clerk,
yes.
let's pause for one moment. Ms. McLean Lane, I see you have your hand raised.
Thank you very much for recognizing me, Chair Joyce. I just wanted to say this quickly. To have the opportunity to maybe do remote, et cetera. The worst thing that could have happened, of course, happened to my family in the past week and a half, is that we caught BA5 or whatever this new variant is. And I have never been so sick in my entire life, even though I'm fully vaccinated and fully boosted. So having the opportunity to do some sort of, this stuff is deeply appreciated.
Anything I should put?
Oh, thank you, Ms. McLean Lane. Mr. Deputy Clerk, could you start from the top, please, for the long roll call?
Well,
Thank you.
Preston,
Yes.
Drusky, Bergdorf,
Brewski is yes.
Yes.
Mr. Clay,
Yes.
Cleary,
Yes.
Camisso,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Tomolowitz,
Yes.
Drake,
Yes.
Epicoro,
Yes.
Gaither,
Yes.
Feeney,
Yes.
Pine,
Yes.
Grimm,
Yes.
Andrew Joyce,
Yes.
Raymond Joyce,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Lakakis,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Moriello,
Yes.
Mayo,
Yes.
McLaughlin, Ms. McLaughlin, McLean Lane,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Hurley,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Reedy,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Reichart,
Border aye.
Simpson,
Yes.
Smith, excuse me, Tunney,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Whalen. Ms. Whalen again.
Yes, yes, sorry, yes.
Willingham,
Yes.
thank you. Unanimous, 35.
Thank you. Local law G for 2022 passes unanimous. Local law H for 2022.
Local law H 19, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to healthcare facilities.
Please refer local law H for 2022 to the Law and Health Committees, please.
Right.
Okay, folks, before we adjourn tonight, we had one item that didn't make it to the agenda and must be taken up by Rule 11. This is a public hearing related to local law H, which we just sent to the Law and Health Committees. The public hearing will also go to the Law and Health Committees. Do I have a motion to invoke Rule 11, please?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Ricard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion to invoke Rule 11 passes unanimous. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please read Resolution 302.
Public hearing on proposed local law H for the local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to healthcare facilities. It is resolved by the County Legislature of the County of Albany that a public hearing on proposed local law H for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to healthcare facilities, to be held by the Albany County Legislature at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27, 2022, with participation information to be made available on the Albany County website. And the clerk of the legislature is directed to cause such notice of the hearing to be published containing the necessary information in accordance with the applicable provisions of law.
Thank you. Please refer resolution number 302 to the Law and Health Committee, please.
Thank you.
One more final item. After speaking with my counsel, I would like to update the referral of resolution 301, and I would like it to go to Health and Personnel, please.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien, seconded by Mr. Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.